I'm Dr. Michael Haley, and thank you for tuning in to the Dr. Haley Show podcast. Today we've got two guests. It's a twofer. Richard Longland, who I've known for years, and he was the original creator of the film Why Am I Still Sick, which you can still see today at whyamistillsick.com. And he's created additional excellent content and films that will help us in our health journeys. You can check out his YouTube channel and his other websites, including the arthropatient.org. I'll leave links to his content below the videos, or if you're on the podcast page, we'll leave links down there. And we're also being joined by educator and account executive from US Enzymes, Larry Stout. So today we are going to get our education about enzymes, which I've been recommending for years and seeing great results, even though I have this much understanding about them. Very little, that is. So join me on the journey today so that we can make better decisions about our enzyme choices when it comes to adding those to our supplementation. It's going to be a good show. Thank you for joining me on the Dr. Haley Show today. I'm joined with Larry from US Enzymes and Richard Longland. Guys, thank you so much for being here today.
A pleasure. Thanks for having us.
You know, we talked briefly before getting started here about enzymes. I told you my limited knowledge on them. Now, I might know a lot chemically, and I used to teach organic chemistry, and I know enzymes are these compounds that exist naturally in lots of foods that we consume. I know that somehow we make our own digestive enzymes and we have them in our saliva when we chew them into food and things like that. But I really do have a limited knowledge too. I've recommended them to a lot of people. I know that they exist in a lot of the green powders, including the green powders that we make. I know that people can get them in capsules, and generally they're probably in larger servings there when they're in capsules. And there's different kinds of enzymes that do different things towards different types of foods. I've recommended them. I've seen benefits, even though I've just kind of given general recommendations. I'm hoping today you guys can teach me and help our audience to understand this more, how they can benefit from digestive enzymes. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Very good.
You know, funny. I also want to talk about, this is an interesting thing. I've heard people refer to enzymes as being alive, and that, you know, in food, when you cook it, you kill them. I think what they mean is alive in the sense that they're intact and that they have a certain function, and that maybe heat will maybe denature them or change them chemically so they're no longer able to do what they do. Not that they're alive like breathing organisms with some kind of conscience, but alive, intact, having a function. Do these digestive enzymes, do they break down over time?
They can. Let me just reintroduce ourselves. My name is Rich Longland, and I'm a part-time sales consultant for Master Supplements US Enzymes. Larry is my colleague, and we're going to talk a little bit, but want to sort of position what the company does vis-a-vis all the other companies out there, because Master Supplements is focused on gut health ever since its inception almost 20 years ago. So they focused with a great deal of research behind it and developed probiotics, enzymes, and fiber. Those three products are really only what the company does. But to answer your questions about enzymes, the other way to look at it, Mike, is these things can be used systemically on an empty stomach, or enzymes can be used to help break down, metabolize the food during and after dinner. So I like your analogy earlier off camera when you said that enzymes sort of melt or help a big meal get melted down into the digestive process, and that's what they do. But today we want to talk a little bit more about the specialized aspects of how enzymes can help, not just with digestions, but to go back to your nature analogy, some of these enzymes are so powerful because we looked at nature. Serapeptase, or the Sarazyme product, actually looks at some of the engineering, or reverse engineers what the silkworm did. It regurgitates a little bit of saliva and there's enzymes in that to get out of the cocoon. Well, guess what? Serrapeptase has been in use for almost 30 years in Europe. Cardiac surgeons prescribe it to their patients to help thin the blood. Nattozyme, another example, comes from nattokinase or fermented tofu, and that has been shown to be a powerful antiviral but can clean the blood. So those are just some specialized and unique applications of enzymes, but I want to bring it back to digestion. And Larry, maybe you could talk a little bit about Enzalase and Digestion and some of these other powerful digestive products we have.
Sure, I'd be happy to. And Dr. Haley, I appreciate the insight and the aspect of, what are enzymes and why do people need them? And in most cases, really, I like to kind of start with a process of why do we need to use an enzyme? And it's not just to say, okay, let's break the food down and, and leave it at that. I'd like to kind of step back and take that proverbial 30,000 foot view of what's going on. Back in the 1940s and 50s, our country started to figure out how to take food and stabilize it so that it would stay on the shelf longer. So you have it in the grocery store longer. Not everybody was growing their own. I mean, I know we had our victory gardens back in World War II, but what they started to try to do was allow us to modernize. And one of the things the way to describe this to your people, and what I want to do is give your patients a reason to why to take a digestive enzyme in the first place. Let's get the why out of the way so they know why they're doing it. When you cut an apple, you peel an apple, it starts to brown. The more natural enzymes that naturally occur in that apple, the faster it'll turn brown. It's the breaking down process of the food. That's what enzymes do. And in our body, we have over 5,000 different forms, what they call source enzymes. Those source enzymes are utilized every time we blink our eyes, an enzyme causes that process. Every time our heart beats, an enzyme causes that process. So why should I take an enzyme if I've got all of those there, correct? So let's look at our processed food. So the next time you're walking into a convenience store, you want to grab something really quick to eat just so you have something in your stomach. And you look at that product, that food that's sitting on the shelf, that's been sitting there for 5 years. And it could sit there and look the same as it does 5 years from now. The only way that processed food can achieve that is for every single enzyme that would help the body break it down has to be removed. So as you said at the beginning part, Dr. Haley, the heating of the process, those type of overcooking things and that kind of stuff actually removes the breaking down process that the food would do to help us utilize it. So if you're eating a food that won't break down for 5 years, think of it this way. Every time you chew that food, swallow it, and allow your stomach to have to break it down and the microbiome to send it to where it needs to be to build your body, you're actually pulling enzymes from a heartbeat, from a blinking of the eye, from any other autoimmune process that could be stopped from an enzyme. You're losing that ability. So that's, to me, is the reason why we want to take an enzyme. Obviously, not eating foods like that, it's not just about taking a product that we manufacture. It's about taking responsibility of eating foods that, the body can utilize and grow and nurture from, not just fill your stomach. So to me, that's the purpose. The other process, and I'll get into this a little bit and a little deeper with you, something that I've learned since I've started working here, and I'll tell you a real quick story about how I got here. I have a younger brother who is a dwarf. And when we were younger, we lived in Baltimore. We grew up there. And they could not figure why he would get sick every 6 to 8 weeks and would lose 10 pounds from being sick. We took him to a nutritionist, somebody like yourself, Dr. Haley, and the nutritionist says he needs a digestive enzyme. He's not digesting his food properly. So for 40 some years, I've been understanding that enzymes have to be there for the process. What I've never understood, and what US Enzymes has taught me, is that for the first hour, from the time you take food into your mouth, for that first hour, all of the digestion that's done on that food in the stomach is done via plant-based enzymes. So when you're taking different enzymes that are specifically animal-based, they don't function on that bolus of food that's in the stomach for the first hour. It's all plants have to do that. Thus, the theory of eating more raw foods, more raw plants and vegetables, so that you're getting the enzymes there to help break down for that first hour while that happens. My question real quick to you is, how many of your patients have ever come to you and said, you know what, I eat something, and an hour after I eat, I get heartburn?
Oh, yeah.
Go to my doctor, and my doctor says, you have too much stomach acid. We have to use a PPI to stop the stomach acid because you're getting heartburn an hour after you eat. What actually is happening for that first hour, the body is using all the plant enzymes that are either in your food or pulling it from your body to break that food down for the first hour. Really important part, and some of your patients will understand this that are a little more educated, they've heard of the vagus nerve. That vagus nerve actually communicates from the gut and the stomach to the brain more than the brain communicates to the gut and the stomach. And one of the things that have to happen is when we start to eat, our chewing the food, mixing extra saliva with it, which is part of the digestion, getting in that bolus of stomach food that's down there, the stomach is supposed to tell the brain, hey, stomach acid is going low, close the muscle, that sphincter muscle at the top of the stomach, the bottom of the esophagus. When we don't have enough plant enzymes there, when we eat food that could sit on a shelf for 5 years, there's not enough signaling mechanisms there for the stomach to tell the brain, close that muscle. An hour into our digestion is when the stomach says, okay, we're ready for the final breakdown. Let's get everything melted away completely with some hydrochloric acid. So it starts pumping that in, and a little bit of that splashes up the esophagus. And thus we get heartburn. And the typical medical profession that hasn't studied this out says, let's stop the acid production so you don't get heartburn anymore, causing an effect downstream of lots of problems.
That's interesting because I've never really considered the possibility that it's enzymatic breakdown that's lacking, and that being why someone might have that heartburn. That's one of the number one reasons people come to us and our products, aloe vera, is for treating heartburn and acid reflux. So I had never considered the fact that enzymes could help with that.
Well,
Wow.
and Mike, just to add to that, and you probably already know this, but it bears repeating. Once you change that stomach environment, once you alter the acidity of that stomach acid, or you try to neutralize it, you can only imagine the downstream problems that that's causing. That is to say, more specifically, you're going to alter the pH of your small intestine and the rest of your GI tract. And that is not good. Even the drug manufacturers will have the little fine print that says, don't take this PPI more than X number of weeks. But personally, I know one gentleman down the street who I've been helping. He's been on a PPI for 20 years and he's 90 years old.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So anyway.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of trying to alter the pH and using medications. A lot of people are drinking alkaline water to try to lower the pH, and others are trying to raise the pH. And
well, that's why your aloe products are great. They can help anyone, whether they're sick or not. So kudos to you for a great aloe product.
What's interesting too, though, you're giving me another possibility why they work. Aloe vera is naturally loaded with enzymes, and and we are using a raw, not pasteurized aloe vera. So theoretically, and this is interesting too, Larry, because as you were talking about food that can sit on the shelf longer, cooked food lasts longer, but cooking also probably denatures naturally occurring enzymes that are otherwise in the food. So you're tying that together for me in my head. And I gotta say this, you know what my first introduction to enzymes was actually a demonstration in a nutrition class where somebody had made a bowl of oatmeal. And they took in this case, it was a green powdered capsule that had naturally occurring enzymes in it, and sprinkled it on the oatmeal. And we watched the oatmeal liquefy in the bowl over the next, 5 to 7 minutes.
Wow.
That's where I learned and understood that, digestive enzymes were important and how they might function inside us. So it's neat. A lot of the things that you're telling me are coming together.
I want to be able to put it into a way that, this evening, after somebody watches this, they can say, okay, now I know what to do. I have a direction. It's not just, okay, you said some really great stuff. What do I do? We don't want to leave people wondering what to do. And, with your aloe, those enzymes that are naturally occurring there, one of the great things about it, and this is why we use at US Enzymes, all of our products, virtually with an exception for 2 ingredients, everything we have is nothing but plant-derived enzymes. And the reason we do that, and another process of why the aloe does this, animal-based enzymes, your pancreatin enzymes, those types of different things, they do function, they do work, but they're limited at a pH range. So let's say when you're eating something, you're eating food that lowers the pH really low in the stomach down to 4. A lot of animal-based enzymes can't break food down when the acidity goes that low. The great thing about plant enzymes is that they can digest food from a 1.5 pH all the way up to a 12. So they can cover that much broader range to help you have a complete breakdown of the food in the stomach, so that when people swallow, it's broken down. When it goes into the small intestine, those particles of proteins are broken down so small that the bacteria can actually do their work much, much easier.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. And it's funny because the reality is the bacteria are, after the enzymes, the bacteria are the digesters. They are what really finishes the breakdown and prepares our food for absorption, our nutrients for absorption. So that makes sense.
And one of the things, if I may say, one of the products that we utilize the most is a product called Digestion. And it is 23 different plant enzymes that are used there to function from that pH of 1.5 to 12. So you're getting a broad spectrum plant enzyme-based product. The most I've ever seen in any other product line was only 13 different plant enzymes. So we're covering a much broader range. And our goal is to not really have to eat the foods the way you should, and really 1 to 2 capsules a day at the most. At your biggest meal would really all that should be necessary once the digestion, as Richard was saying, once it's functioning right, you shouldn't have to take product all the time.
Yeah, this is one of those things though, and I've recommended it for people primarily with constipation. That's been like one of the things you need. Let's get, and I have my protocol of things, and we get results when we, do probiotics, increase fiber. You had mentioned fiber earlier, digestive enzymes, drink plenty of water, of course, and these things, and we get the bowels functioning normally. Because people say, how do you treat constipation? Well, I don't want to treat it. I want to give you the things that you should be having in your diet naturally. And and sometimes it's easier to get that in capsules. So let's do that and fix things naturally instead of treating it from a medical approach. So digestive enzymes is one of those natural things, but I'm realizing it's more than constipation. It's digestion, it's acid reflux, it's heartburn, it's probably a lot more than that. What was the name of the product that you had just said?
Digestion.
Digestion. Okay, so would that be almost like a first stop for most people that, you kind of can't go wrong? There's lots of different digestive enzyme products. Is that probably like the number one for most people?
I'm going to say that it's going to be the number one for most people. You're going to start with a Digestion, 1 capsule. It's your biggest meal a day. We're going to build up to, for a period of time, we may get up to 1 capsule every time you eat. But most people aren't used to having that much plant enzyme actually functioning in their stomach. So you want to go slow, allow the body to start to grow into what it should be. I will admit to you, there are going to be times with some people in their diet. We have a hydrochloric acid product that is actually derived from beets. So it is a plant enzyme-based hydrochloric acid that some of my people, and these are the people that, they poke 3 holes in their food in each bite and then they swallow it. So their stomach is having to do everything. And sometimes it's almost better to start with 1 capsule to 2 capsules per meal of that, because it's actually a little more gentle on their stomach at the beginning part. Now, one of the things that we also did, the guy that started US Enzymes realized that one of the things that enzymes have to have, and I think it goes back to a Dr. Linus Pauling. He made the statement that you can trace every ailment, disease, and disorder to a mineral deficiency. One of the things that enzymes have to function properly is minerals. So one of the guy that started US Enzymes developed a ingredient called astrozyme that has different trace minerals, like 70 some different trace minerals, along with natto and astragalus that are fermented, that give off what I would call in a description like a light frequency. They all look the same under a microscope. And they actually enhance the enzymes in our product's ability, from studies that we've done, up to 30% more on their function. So Digestion would be where most people would start. And probably most people that listen to your show, that's where I would start them. They're educated, they know what they're doing. The guy, the truck driver that doesn't have time to do anything more than just grab a hamburger, poke 2 holes in it and swallow it, he probably should start with our HCl time. Let's take baby steps.
Yeah, but let's appeal to those people to chew their food better too.
If I can just underscore what Larry just said. So he just described the astrozyme. That's an ingredient in almost all of the enzyme products. And to his point, the research showed that there's a substantial effect. I won't say logarithmic. Larry said 30%. It can be higher with some of the other studies and some of the other enzymes, but his point is well taken. This basically, it's kind of a crass way of summarizing what he said. I like to say it turbocharges the enzymes. And it's significantly, from a comparative standpoint, going back to all the other products out there, I mean, the enzymatic activity of most of the enzymes, even without the astrozyme, is mostly better than other products out there. But once you add that astrozyme, there's a significant boost in these enzyme products. So to his point, yeah, Digestion is a very powerful product. A less expensive product is Enzalase, and that's been around for almost 17 or 18 years. Less enzymes, but in general, almost everyone that I've talked to, that I've met, that give samples to my clients, have done really well with. So this is a good sort of everyday use kind of thing. And not to pigeonhole how you use these products, Mike, but the Digestion does have more enzymes and can be used for people that might be sicker, a more established chronic digestive issue, or even constipation issues, where the Enzalase might be sort of a junior version of that, if you will. So I just wanted to put it out there for your consideration.
Okay. I am curious about something Larry had said about starting, maybe easing into it. I know that when someone has maybe too many probiotics, they can, if they go in too aggressively and their body's not used to that, they can almost cramp up. What might someone experience if they're having too many enzymes right from the start?
Well, first, I want to go back to a key point that you addressed. If someone is not doing well with a certain kind of probiotic, I just want to mention that different people, for different reasons, can have different reactions to probiotics. I know it sounds kind of goofy, but there's a reason for that. The strains that are used in Master Supplements probiotics are specific to the human GI tract, where other kinds of probiotics might use a spore-based or soil-based organisms. And you might be surprised that some people do have a problem with those kinds of probiotics. But to your point about having too many enzymes, Well, let's differentiate between having them on a full stomach versus empty stomach or systemically. So maybe let's talk about for digestive support. Are you suggesting some people might have issues with that, Mike? If they're taking too many enzymes where they're
There is.
ill?
If I can
Larry,
answer
you had
that.
mentioned starting with one.
Yeah. And the purpose, and this goes kind of back to with the therapeutic dose rather than a maintenance dose processes. So a lot of your patients, when you start with them, you want to try to move things. As you understand the microbiome, probably one of the greatest things that the aloe product that you have does is it's actually able to help strengthen the mucosal layer of the whole digestive tract. So imagine somebody that hasn't had good digestion, the stomach's not used to a lot of enzymes there, or they've been on a PPI that they've been suppressing that. The mucosal layer is going to be thinner. And if you start throwing 23 plant-based enzymes with a turbocharger on them, you're going to start breaking food down the way you want to, but the mucosal lining, which is actually the protectant of that stomach, is not going to be thick enough to really function the way it should. So you have a huge advantage over most of the practitioners, Dr. Haley. You can give them an aloe product to help suppress that and the symptom of that, be taken care of. Until most of our practitioners start buying your aloe, they're not going to be able to do that like you can. But the process of too much enzymes in somebody that their mucosal lining is compromised, they're going to feel that. And I've had it experience. I've experienced that with my practitioners who know better. And when they start taking, we actually have a product called Digestion Plus, which is like double what the Digestion is. And I thought, for the money, why not start with the Digestion Plus? And I had practitioners coming back saying, well, that was way too much. My stomach could not handle that. And they dropped back to the Digestion.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those things. If a product really, really works, you don't need as much. And that's what our goal is.
Yeah, I believe that enzymes in their nature, even in small amounts, are almost like catalysts where they can continue working. And, it's once it's done breaking this molecule, I believe the same enzyme can break down the next one.
Exactly. They're not just.
Well,
Okay.
they do have a lifetime, but to your earlier question, Mike, and I think the founder of the company, Jeff Thurston, taught me this, that you really can't overdose on enzymes. I mean, the patient might have a little bit of a reaction to it, but it's not going to hurt them. It's not going to kill them ultimately.
Yeah, I think it's what it's sounding like to me is don't make too many changes all at once. And in the same way, if we're teaching someone to increase their fiber content, too much fiber without water can almost turn into like cement. And now you're creating the opposite of the problem. You're making too much change too fast. But as we learn to consume more fibrous foods and of course now we realize you need so much water with them, and these things all work together. So I think it's just saying let's do a smart approach and make some changes more gradually.
Exactly.
Smart.
And if I can segue into what Richard had said, Dr. Haley, regarding the Enzalase product that we have in our Digestion, the Digestion is specifically designed to break down food in the stomach. The Enzalase is specifically designed to break down what undigested food went through the stomach and into the small intestine. So your patients that are having problems or they're taking a probiotic constantly trying to keep their immune system going would probably benefit very well from an Enzalase product to help start breaking that food down in that upper part of the small intestine, cleaning that out and allowing the room for the good bacteria to really start to multiply and grow like it should. So they have two different formats that they work in there. And what we're trying to do is cover the digestion. If we can get people to chew from there on, is what we're trying to do at US Enzymes.
Now, do some people take more than one of the digestive enzyme products? Do they take the digestine? And sorry, I'm not saying it right. Digestizyme
Digest.
and the enzalase?
Sure.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, I will admit to you, because my brother had problems with digestion as a kid, you know, I came from the same parents. I've always had digestive issues that way. So I do take a Digestion and an enzalase at each meal.
Okay.
Food broken down.
So you can take them together then at the same time.
Correct.
And you do. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Larry, don't be easy on me. Okay. You're too nice here. I want you to be tough on me because I've probably been telling people the wrong thing. I've noticed that when people use digestive enzymes, generally speaking, they do better. I've given people kind of this, broad approach, chew your food better, eat more fiber, drink more water, have a little fat for maybe some of the lubrication in your diet, have some probiotics and or fermented foods, and, a digestive enzyme. And I've always told people that for the most part, I'm sure some are better than others, but from what I've seen, just standing back, pretty much all of the digestive enzyme products seem to have some benefit. Tell me, and it's kind of like aloe. I'll step back and I'll say, honestly, we happen to be the most expensive and certainly the purest and full strength, unfiltered raw and stuff like that. But from what I've seen, some of the lesser products are still pretty good. It's funny. I've kind of joked and teased and said it was kind of like intimacy. Even when it's bad, it's still kind of good. Correct me. Have I been wrong? And what separates one brand from another when it comes to digestive enzymes?
That's easy. Can I go before you, Larry?
Certainly, by all means.
Well, Mike, going back to your product, what makes your product better than all the other aloe products? It's similar to this company. It's a very clean product. It's clean sourcing. It's clean packaging. That's why I buy your aloe product. That's why I tell people it's the cleanest aloe out there. So sorry for my excitement. That was an easy one. Go ahead, Larry.
As far as being tough on you, Dr. Haley, you don't know what you don't know. That's all of us. Your patients don't know what they don't know. And I think that's the purpose of our conversation today, to help educate that part of it. You are absolutely, though, 100% correct. I learned this 20 years ago when I was calling on a doctor, and she said that she'll have patients come in and they'll tell her, I'm only going to buy one bottle of product. I'm not going to buy anything else. I don't care what you say I need. I'm only walking out of here with one bottle. She said every time a patient said that, she picked up a digestive enzyme and she handed it to him and said, this is what you need. I can't tell you how many times, I don't know the percentage, but invariably those people would come back and say, okay, what else do I need that really helped? Our digestive system, the reason we're supposed to chew our food is because that's the number one portal for diseases, bacteria, viruses, you name it. It's the number one way for us to get it in. Second only maybe to breathing, because we breathe more than we eat. But if we can get into cleaner air, the food that we eat is where most of our contaminants come in. And when you can break them down in the stomach before they can go any farther, your immune system's way ahead of the game. So, no, you're absolutely right. I don't care if your patients don't use our digestive enzymes. Fantastic. Use somebody's at least. Understand, if you want to break down foods from 1.5 to 12, the bigger, range there, you want to get the quality, I think you should use the Digestion. But please use some form of digestive enzyme.
Yeah, I know they're literally life-changing. And, my first true experience after seeing that demonstration in the bowl was, eating too much and 2 a.m. thinking, I cannot sleep. The food is just sitting there and it feels, It feels like it's up to here, and for those that are just listening, I'm showing my finger up at my throat like it's about to come up. And taking a digestive enzyme, within 15 minutes, it just felt like things would be melting away. And I've used that several times since. Now, I haven't had to do that in a long time, probably because I learned to chew my food and consume a live living diet. And I do use probiotics and fermented foods and consume lots of fiber, lots of fruits and vegetables every day. So I'm probably treating myself a lot better with the way I put food into my body than I did back in those days. But I'm still consuming, digestive enzymes as part of my plan. It's absolutely amazing, and it could be absolutely life-changing for people that are having issues, and probably for people that even aren't and don't realize that they can go next level.
Life is not about just seeing how long you can live, but how much of it you can live while you're alive. And I believe enzymes are a huge part of that process. Being able to get up and just walk out, get the mail every day. I think enzymes would help people in that process that they used them when they were younger, all the way through. Personal opinion, but I don't want to have to sit and wait for somebody to get my mail for me.
Well said. I agree. So, for a goof, the website is usenzymes.com. Yes? Okay, now I'm going to, let's see if I can do this here. Screen number 1. I'm on usenzymes.com. There's the, for people that are watching this on YouTube or something like that, you'll see for this point in time what the website looks like in 2022. And if I go to the products area and drop down, I can see we have enzymes, probiotics, nutrition, EMF protection, view all. For now, I'm just going to click on the enzymes area. And there are a lot of choices here. The first one that I see, you mentioned an HCL. Was this the one that
HCL
enzyme?
Right.
Okay. And then right after that is the Digestion.
Correct.
All right. So we talked about those. You did mention below is the Natozyme and the Cerezyme below that, where we had talked a little bit earlier. I see another Digestion Plus. This is the one that was like more potent, possibly, than the Digestion. Okay, great. And the Cerezyme, what was the other one that we had mentioned?
Enzylase.
Enzylase. Okay. Most people, we said, should start here in the Digestion.
That's my suggestion.
Yes. Okay. And when might they consider some of these others that we haven't talked about, or how would they know that they might benefit from them?
Well, let me give you a little description of one of the products there and a little bit of the story behind US Enzymes so that your patients can understand why we're having the conversation we are today. The guy that started US Enzyme, his name is Troy. Troy is the largest manufacturer of enzymes in the United States today. He has a lot of companies come to his company and say, I want to have an enzyme, a digestive enzyme made. And he says, okay, let's put this, and this in it. This is what'll make it best. And they say, you know what? I can't make as much money on that. It costs too much. It's not going to fit into our needs. Let's take some ingredients out so we can make the price points work. And he got tired of hearing that. And also, personally, he's an extreme athlete. He's climbed the tallest mountains. And when you climb up there, you take everything that you're going to consume on your back. So with that thought in mind, going back to what most companies that he was manufacturing for, they would say, well, this has too much ingredients. Let's pull it out. Let's get the price point to work properly. What he decided that he was tired of hearing that, and he knew that patients needed to hear to be able to buy a product that had less fillers and actual more material. So there is a specific product that we have. It's called glutathione. It has a specific enzyme in it called DPP4. So it's David, Paul, the number 4, DPP4. In the research and everything that it shows to work with that, you need about 15,000 international units of DPP-4 to function a day for the body to work the way it should. And there was a company I used to work for, they had a product that was designed to break down gluten as a digestive enzyme. And when I compared those two, all you had to do, if you took one capsule of US Enzymes glutathione, all you would have to do to get the same amount of ingredients out of the other company's product was take 240 capsules. So as a mountain climber, imagine the guy that manufactures for everybody else and they say, well, you got to take 4 bottles of our product every day to achieve what one little capsule will do. Cost effectively even on that process. US Enzymes products aren't the cheapest things you're going to find on the market today. But you understand the quality process. What I did challenge some of my practitioners to do was take those 4 bottles that retailed for $55 a bottle and compare it to the $60 a bottle of ours. Ours is $5 more expensive. But all you had to do was buy 4 bottles for every 1 capsule in our product. Add up the number. Is ours really that expensive when you come down to that point? So
yeah, well, with the other brand, you're at least going to need a bigger backpack.
Or 3 or 4 other people to go up with you to carry what you need to take.
See, you get a better workout.
More people will. But Troy did that process. He's trying to bring to the people the products that are going to be most effective with the least amount of capsules to achieve that. So that's some of our process, the story behind what we do and why we do it.
Yeah, I think if anyone's listening to this, they can already relate especially if they're using our aloe vera. By not filtering it, we're not taking out lots of the nutrients. Not that the other brands water it down, but if we go to the other extreme, there's products that are so filtered, they taste like water. One brand in particular, even the website says ours does not have any mucopolysaccharides in it. It's like, well, that's why people drink aloe vera. But they still seem to get some results. They're going to be a lot cheaper, but you're not going to get near the aloe vera per ounce. So I think our customers can already appreciate that and relate. It's a perfect parallel.
Indeed.
Well, this has been a great discussion, and I think it's a huge topic that we could probably spend hours on looking at the various products and their reasons, such as, you talking about the glutathione, which I'm looking at right now on my monitor on the brand. Where might people go to find out more? And here's the Enzymes down on the bottom I see, which is a completely different bottle. Okay. Where might people go to find out more about these? Obviously, they can go to usenzymes.com.
Well, they can go to you since you'll be carrying our products now, Mike.
I'm not the expert yet. Okay. How about this? Where should I go to find out more?
We do have a YouTube channel that they can go on to learn more about our products, some of our different processes there, that they can learn more. To actually purchase them, we are a professional line only, so practitioners such as yourself are where the patients retail have to, they'd have to get the products that way. We do try to keep the products off of Amazon because we've had too many different problems with Amazon and different things. If I will give you this information, this is something that I feel like sets us apart as a company also. If a patient comes to you, Dr. Haley, they buy a bottle of our Digestion and they say, you know what, I just don't like this product at all. Through you, we offer 100% money back guarantee.
Okay.
If you buy it off of Amazon, they bought the product.
Yeah.
We don't back anything up there. So we give you those features.
Okay, now just for a goof, I'm going to go back and share my screen for a second. I am on YouTube since you mentioned that as a reference, and it looks like this is, I see the same logo there, so this must be your YouTube channel.
That's correct.
And I can see that, look, when I clicked on the videos tab, the most recent video was put up just 17 hours ago with 42 views already. And then the one before that was just 18 hours ago. So it looks like an active channel. I'm going to hit the subscribe button right here. Others should do the same. Good stuff. All right.
If I may, real quick, since that video that you were showing there specifically was directed toward the cardiovascular system and the microbiome, and the starting process of the microbiome is digesting your food. We have some specific, as Richard was saying earlier, we have systemic enzymes, or some people call it proteolytic enzymes. You take them on an empty stomach. And we have one that we've just come out with about 4 months ago. It's called Lumbrozyme. It's one of our only animal-based enzymes. It comes from earthworms. It's lumbrokinase. There are multiple PubMed articles showing how lumbrokinase has the ability to break down the viscosity of blood. So it basically could be considered, we can't obviously diagnose, treat, or cure, but if I was going to take a natural product to try to thin my blood, I would use lumbrokinase.
Interesting.
We have an enzyme called Cpros-S. It's a Czyme product. Cpros-S has also multiple PubMed articles showing how it breaks down biofilms in the lungs. In Japan, the Cpros-S, the Czyme product, there at the left would be your right.
Okay.
If you click on that one, Czyme is actually an ingredient that the Japanese have been fermenting. We are the only company in the United States that's allowed to carry it at a therapeutic dose. And it has research showing how it breaks down the biofilms in the lungs. Anybody in Japan that has COPD goes on that product.
Yeah, that's a huge problem too, especially with the air that we breathe these days.
Mike, I just wanted to add a footnote to what Larry just mentioned, and maybe use this as a segue because I know you have to go soon, but we'd love to explore the application of systemic enzymes, perhaps in another session if you can find time for us. But just to add a footnote to the lumbrokinase, this is a very powerful systemic enzyme. And one of the areas in which some doctors have really focused on is the use of this for dissolving amyloid plaques. So you can imagine how excited some people are for that, for not just anti-aging, but targeting very specific neurological diseases. I'm not talking fluffy stuff here. I mean, there's a lot of science to back how effective these enzymes are systemically.
And I'm understanding more and more and more, because when we're speaking systemically, you're talking about whole body issues outside of digestion. Obviously, right. When you were talking about affecting things in our lungs or our blood or our systemic anywhere in our body, right. Which is now explaining why there are so many options when it comes to the enzymes.
Right.
So I could see where most people are going to start with the digestive enzymes, but may then say, wow, this is amazing for what it's doing with my digestion. I wonder how it might help my circulatory system.
That's right.
Okay. I love it. I'm learning a tremendous amount.
Well, thank you for having us today. I really appreciate your time.
This has been great. We went probably a good hour. We have a source of more content on the YouTube channel here. I'm subscribed. I'm sure plenty of our audience is going to do the same thing. So Larry and Richard, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Let's do it again.
Dr. Haley, it was a pleasure. Thank you for your time. And I would love to do it again.
Awesome. Awesome.